IPMNation.com.
Previously on Angry Drunk Tales.
I can't trust you to keep your mouth shut when you've been drinking. We both have too many secrets for anybody to find out.
Don't push this any further.
Of course I will.
Be angry.
All the way. Charlie has fantasies.
About you and me getting married and her moving into Southwark.
That doesn't sound like such a wild one to me.
Harry, are you saying that he killed his wife for her money?
Me write angry emails.
The family left her a trust fund with more money than the Farlows ever had.
Donna. Edgar.
Oh my God.
Episode 17, At the End of the Day, and such.
Me still angry. Me continue to write long, rambling, drunken emails. Me continue to be angry over incident several weeks ago. Me have emotional intelligence of 5-year-old child. Me bitter and frustrated with myself over being drunken 300-pound tub of shit. Me undiagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. Me
fucking idiot.
Me write angry emails. Me hate everyone.
Welcome to episode 17 of Angry Drunk Tales. I'm Matt Connerton.
And I'm Jen Coffey.
And when we left off, we had I did a dramatic reading of an email from
fucking idiot
on July 6th.
Yes, we are the former roommates of
fucking idiot.
Yes. And in that email, he made it pretty obvious that our 90-minute conversation from a couple nights ago, really, it was as though that had never happened on July 4th.
And this conversation with me was a waste of time. The only thing beneficial out of it is I got to say to his face everything because that's the way I am. I don't hide behind a computer.
Right.
I got to say to his face everything I was feeling, which was good.
Yeah.
It's very healthy, you know.
So, yeah. So I read the long email. So now we're still on July 6th and we'll remain on there for a bit. So I have a, let's see. So I have an email from him. This is a short one, so this won't be the feature email for this episode. But I will read this. In this one, he references, and this was sent a few minutes after the long one that I read in the last episode. In this one, he references your conversation with him. But I don't think he ever mentions my conversation with him. I was accused of being uncaring and unfeeling. Well, guess what? Now I'm at that point. I would actually prefer, if you all feel like my feelings are irrelevant, then you need to move. Because so far, all I have been told is that how I felt and was made to feel is irrelevant to everyone concerned. If that's the case, then I would actually prefer you all move. To that idea, I am putting locks on my own doors in the next few days. Sorry, but if my feelings are irrelevant to any of you, then your feelings are irrelevant to me as well. No one so far has acknowledged at all that 3 people spent an hour talking in another room about me. That I was called sexist simply because I said I was raised to never hit a woman, and told Angela after she said I could kick your ass, I said, no, you can't. And all 3 of these 20-somethings labeled me a sexist, then set out to insult me. Sorry, at the end of the day, if my feelings are irrelevant, if Jen refuses to see her own son for anything less than a saint at all times, can't acknowledge that maybe he made me feel insulted and disrespected, then sorry, to me, all of your feelings are irrelevant at this point. Jesse is not a saint, pure and simple. Recognize the fact that he insulted and disrespected me. That's what happened, period. So he sent me that.
Right, and my discussion with him had nothing to do with Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
My discussion with him had to do with him emailing me in the hospital,
right,
and me wanting to know why he kept doing it, why he was dragging me into this thing when I was definitely not in a position to be in it.
Yeah.
So I had every right to question him on that issue between him and I.
Yeah.
He completely ignores it.
Right.
Again.
Yeah, and again, it's like that the conversation that I had with him never happened because he keeps saying, no one acknowledges that my feelings matter. And meanwhile, I had spent that conversation trying to make him understand, no,
fucking idiot.
Of course we care about your feelings.
Right, and he forgot about Jesse apologizing to him.
Oh, yeah.
He forgot about the hugging. He forgot about all of the times it was acknowledged.
Yeah.
And even Angela's attempt to talk to him.
Yeah.
So basically, he insists that there was no acknowledgement by ignoring everything that was done.
Yeah. So, finally, I wrote back and I said, because I'm just dismayed at this point, and it's really becoming obvious there is no resolution to this, and that we were ultimately going to have to move because he's just going in circles here.
Which turned out to be the best freaking thing we ever did.
Oh, absolutely. But I wrote back to him. I said,
fucking idiot.
We had a really good talk the other night, and I thought we had reached an understanding. And I also thought you understood Jen's difficulty in all of this. Now it's as though that conversation never happened. I thought I made it clear that I understood your side of it, but that I also felt that where alcohol is involved, all parties have some level of blame. And we seem to reach common ground with that. But I was very clear that I understood your side and valued your feelings. I went to bed that night believing that we had reached an understanding, just like I went to bed that night of the argument thinking everything was fine. You even emailed me and said you felt good about our talk. But I also thought you understood Jen's mental state and could at least be a little bit understanding when she was crying in your door today about what had happened. Okay, so this was the same day. You've said repeatedly in this email that it's like your feelings are irrelevant. It's as though our talk the other night never happened. I can't go in circles on this anymore either. Only other thing I'll say is this. You mentioned something about putting locks on your door, completely unnecessary. Jen and I are very good people and would never enter your room in your absence. Just wouldn't happen. Do it if you feel more comfortable, but it's not necessary.
And that's something I want to back up and point out about the first short email that you read. Mm-hmm. The reason he was called a sexist was because when the joking around conversation was happening and Angela said she could take him in a fight, his response was, no, you couldn't because you're a girl. That's where the sexist comments came from. And where it started was because he specifically stated because she was a girl, she couldn't hold her own. And that's where it started. He likes to conveniently leave that last few words of what he said. You couldn't take me, he says. But he leaves out the part, because you're a girl.
Yeah. So then he wrote back to me and said, Matt, you did, no one else did. That's why I sent this to just you. Locks are not about you or Jen. Things said to me about Angela. So he's back on that.
Now he's trying to make Angela out to be, and this girl works 2 frickin' jobs. She doesn't have time to be partying with anything, and she most certainly is not in any way, shape, or form some kind of a drug addict.
Yeah.
Or even remotely close to being a belligerent, drunken alcoholic, like
fucking idiot.
Pot call kettle what?
Yeah.
And her kettle happens to be pretty damn clean.
Yeah. So then we'll get to, we have a long email from
Fucking idiot.
We'll get to our dramatic reading for this episode. This is the next thing that I got from
Fucking idiot.
And again, this is that same day, July 6th. And this is apparently regarding Angela, but we'll see where else it goes. And I'm just going to read this as it's written because it becomes too difficult to try to clean up his grammar and syntax as I'm as I'm reading it. So you're getting it unedited. Okay, here we go. Things a friend of hers mentioned to me that I have not personally seen, but he has, that have me concerned, since I don't hear well enough to refute what he said. He noticed a habit she has that is a sign of a hardcore heroin user. Sorry, but that's how he also mentioned it to me. He made mention of what he had seen, knowing that I knew that meant picking at your face and arms obsessively. He had seen it for her do it quite a bit and asked me if I knew anything about her because she keeps hitting on him. I said no, but since he mentioned it, I would take steps to ensure that I was protected. I barely know her. I don't even know her last name unless I look at Facebook. I don't even have her number, email, or anything for that matter. I'm putting locks on my doors because someone told me one of my roommates might be a junkie. Someone who sees her more often than I do. Sorry if that bothers you, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, the 3 people who were guests in my house chose to insult me. Then when I walked away, talk behind my back, and finally tell me that it was not necessary to respect me or even show me any manners. Sorry if you feel like my emotions are irrelevant or Jen does. I do not feel that same way, and if that's the feeling, then I would prefer you just move out. Since so far 2 people here have basically told me that's just how they feel. That how I was made to feel is irrelevant. If that makes me an asshole, then I can live with that. I will not be made to feel second class in my own house. Sorry if that bothers you, but it is what it is. Despite how bad I felt about what was said to me, I still fixed Jen's PC. Only then did I mention how bad that stuff made me feel, insulted and disrespected. Then when I offered to move, I became the asshole. Tried to make it simple. All that happened after that were decisions you guys made. And try to hang on me. I never asked Jesse to leave except that night. Don't try to hang shit on me that I didn't do. Even now, none of those 3 kids. Yes, they are obviously kids if they can't even follow common rules of society like respecting others and showing manners and etiquette. Kind of makes them less than responsible, in fact. Not a one has apologized to me, not even that night. I ended up apologizing and was going to bed feeling insulted. So if you want to move, then move. Sorry, I can no longer feel sympathy for people who think my feelings are irrelevant and want to call me names, while I keep waiting for an apology that I know will never come, and get blamed for shit that was none of my decision, for that matter either. Jesse moving was not my decision. You all did that on your own. But blame me for it. So at the end of the day, my threshold of sympathy has passed. Sorry, but there is a limit to my tolerance and BS and having everything hung on me. And at the end of the day, if Jesse wants to be treated like an adult, then he should follow the rules most adults do and not tell a fellow adult that showing him respect or manners when that is a man paying for his electric, internet, and such. My bill for last month's electric is $300. Add to that the $200 for cable and another $75 plus the deposit on gas. Yes, I paid for his electric, internet, and such. At the very least, he could have been respectful just because he was living here for free, and nothing is free in life. You can call me all manner of names. I really don't care anymore. As for Jen standing in my door, well, first there was a lot of accusations. I just kept my mouth shut. Not sure what else I even was supposed to do. If I hated her or was angry at her, I wouldn't have fixed her laptop. It took me 4 days just because I had to find a USB stick to do it with. None of her dozen or DVDs I burnt worked in her laptop. Probably the wrong format. And so that was it. And then...
Yeah, he fixed my computer all right. It would turn on. That's
Yeah.
all it would do. I had to have a friend of mine who actually is a really good coder and knows what he's doing, Kurt, take my computer, and he was actually able to really fix it, and now it functions.
Yes.
And then I had somebody who works in well, how should I say, contracted defense work, who's very, very, very computer literate, double check my computer to make sure that
Fucking idiot.
it hadn't done anything or put anything on it. Since we pretty much are fairly certain he's the one that decided to turn my webpage into Viagra ad.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, my computer turned on. Thank you.
Yeah. So there you go. That's our dramatic reading for this episode. And we will we'll start to I mean, I know that the show has had a lot of these short exchanges between
Fucking idiot.
and us, but as the series progresses too, we'll fall into what really was the intended format of the show, where each episode we just feature one long email, because that's pretty much what ends up happening. There comes a certain point where I just stop responding to everything he sends and just let him send the emails, because what else could I
There
do?
was a long period of time that we did that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
At the end of the day, what else could we do?
At the end of the day, if you have a drunken, belligerent, lying, using, destructive roommate, are you safe?
I doubt it. Good night.
Night.
IPMNation.com.